I am so done with Starfield, and honestly, I take no pleasure in saying this considering I wasted my money on the upgraded premium version of the game. The thing is, as a self-admitting huge space nerd, I'm always on the lookout for a great space game. Like recently, I've been playing Honkai Star Rail for my space game, but honestly, I think that game has a lot of huge problems, and I was expecting Starfield to just be a lot better. I've been on the Starfield hype train for years now, and I just couldn't wait to immerse myself in what looked to be the ultimate video game made for space nerds like myself. Unfortunately, I ended up being instantly unimpressed by Starfield and already gave it a very negative review in a first impressions video. However, I still really wanted to like this game, so I did keep playing it a good bit. But still, my negative impression has not changed in over 30 hours of game time, and I have just remained utterly unimpressed, uninspired, unfulfilled, unenthusiastic, and unhappy, and I just had to make this video venting about why I hate this game so much before I uninstall it. So if I had to choose my number one issue I have with Starfield, it would have to be just how awful its space exploration is. And I'm using the word explore very liberally here, as there's really nothing new to find, like ever. What I mean is quite literally the game copy-pastes the same structures and even the same enemies and enemy locations between planets. And I just kept having this constant uneasy feeling of deja vu that gave me massive anxiety while playing Starfield. It got to the point where I was double checking the date and time to make sure I wasn't looping, and as someone who gets anxiety-induced headaches really easily, I just didn't enjoy this. Besides the copy-pasted points of interest, the terrain itself is just boring, auto-generated terrain that never generates anything cool. I guess sometimes the terrain generation would bug out, which can be funny, like the first 3 times, but after that it just gets annoying. And then the basic gameplay loop is you just teleport between these boring auto-generated planets with copy-pasted points of interest. And the teleportation itself is a peak annoyance. Like first you have to teleport to your ship, then you wait for a launch animation, then you dork around on your map to find which system you want to warp to, then you wait for a warp animation, and then you scroll through your map again to find which planet you actually want to travel to in the system, and you have to wait for more loading, and then you choose a place to land on the planet, and you wait to load into the planet. And at any point in this dick rip inducing process, you may be interrupted by space combat, which you have to complete before you can teleport again. Like, if you're going to have fast travel in the game, at least make it fast and not pain-inducing. Overall, the best way I can describe exploring planets in Starfield is that it feels like you are just running a game engine demo program. There's just no sense of discovery or awe in this game, like at all. And honestly, I just think that the space exploration in Honkai Star Rail is a lot better. Like sure, in this game you still just open a map and fast travel everywhere, which I do find very lame, but at least when I do choose where to land my spaceship in this game, I only have to go through one loading screen. And once I do land my spaceship, you see that the planets in this game are just a lot more intriguing than what we have in Starfield. Like this planet has some buildings and stuff, and there's just a lot more motivation for me to explore in Honkai Star Rail. The other massive issue I have with Starfield is just how atrociously ugly all the characters in the game are. Like, I even tried for hours to make my playable character an attractive emo girl. But as you can see, I ended up failing in a major way as she just looks like a drugged out meth head Slipknot fan. And usually characters being so ugly in a video game wouldn't annoy me, but the thing is the game already gives me massive motion sickness from just trying to fly my spacecraft around. Like it would always take me like 5 minutes or so of bumping around a space station to find where the F I was supposed to dock the thing. I just don't know why the game just couldn't let you bump into the space station and auto-dock it instead of making you physically suffer to find the dock point. Anyways, my point is, when I finally find the place to dock and walk out of my spacecraft already feeling very nauseous and on the verge of throwing up, the last thing I want to be greeted by is a hideous NPC character. And it's just a complete joke when compared to Honkai Star Rail, which has multiple attracting looking characters. And quite frankly, I'm not gay, like at all, not even close. But if I had to live in either the Starfield universe as a straight man playing Tetris with girls, or live in the Honkai universe as a straight man playing Tetris with guys, I would honestly opt to live in the Honkai universe still. And besides the world of Starfield being populated by deformed people of Walmart, the story surrounding the world is not impressive or immersive like at all. And I also reckon that space has not only deformed people's look, but also their brains, because my god, everyone in this game talks so slow that you just have to think they're all remedial. There should really be an option to ×2 the speed at which everyone talks, and nothing they say is interesting, like at all. The lore in this game is some of the most lazy, uninspiring writing I've seen in a good while. I don't want to get into spoilers, but basically everyone dies and the main plot amounts to nothing more than a ripoff of Guardians of the Galaxy. The last major thing I hated about Starfield was its lethargic, repetitive, and brain-dead easy combat. This may be some of the worst enemy AI I've ever seen in a video game for some time. The enemies frequently get stuck on terrain, glitch into walls, just don't fire at you, forget where you are, reload without cover, and so much more. I'm actually very terrible at FPS gameplay, but even I recognize that if you die in Starfield, then you're just an idiot. But even worse is the space combat in this game, which is a nightmare for anyone who gets semi-motion sickness. I hadn't felt so sick while playing a game since I played Sea of Thieves. I just feel like my spacecraft is barreling annoyingly out of control, and you basically have to fly in a circle to keep stalking the enemy ships on target, which makes you feel even more sick. Also, all the loot you get from combat and just general exploration is then put in the most convoluted inventory management black hole. It's like menus within menus of other menus, and it's just impossible to find the item you need ever. And I found it kind of funny when I saw that I wasn't the only one who just resorted to chucking my stuff on my ship's floor. Like, I can't even imagine doing something so demonstrably stupid in Honkai Star Rail. The inventory in Honkai Star Rail is infinite, which is just a lot better game design, and you can even very easily filter down to see what items you want. And then, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually think I prefer the atrocious combat in Honkai Star Rail to the horrible combat in Starfield. Like, yes, both games are brain dead easy and have terrible combat, and you just have to be remedial to lose in them. But at least in Honkai Star Rail, once you beat a level once, you can put the game on autoplay so the game plays for you. So as you can see right now, I'm fighting enemies, but I'm actually not playing, so I can actually just minimize the window and do something better with my time. And I just feel like in Starfield that if you beat one of the copy-pasted points of interest once, the next time you run into it, the game should just really autoplay for you. Overall, I wasn't impressed with Starfield like at all, and it just saddens me that we still don't have the ultimate space game for space nerds like me in 2023. I just feel like Bethesda really dropped the ball in a major way on this one, and unfortunately, my mind has still not changed from my original first impressions review. Because of this, I will be officially leaving my score for Starfield at a very harsh but fair 2.8 out of 10.